Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular scheduled meeting for October the 7th. And before we get into our agenda, I'd just like to make a reference to the drop that we have behind us. Of course, we're just going through Cadet Week, and so we thought it appropriate to keep the display up during our council meeting tonight. So if there are people that are listening, in particular young people that are looking for something to do, then we encourage you to join the cadets. And it's a great program, and a lot of our young people have gone through the cadet program over the years and have certainly gained a lot of experience education-wise and preparing for their careers. So we encourage, if there are young people that are listening that are looking for something to do on a particular night, then check with the cadets, and certainly encourage you to join the cadet movement. Okay, first thing on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes from meeting number 435. Are there any errors or omissions from that set of minutes that were circulated? If there are no errors or omissions, I ask for a motion to accept, as moved by Councillor Mercer and second by Councillor Coady Davis. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Motion is carried. Moving into our regular agenda items, moving to our disbursement report, Councillor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the disbursement report for the period October 7th, 2014 in the amount of $140,856.27.
Moved by Councillor Mercer and second by Councillor Moores. Any questions, discussion on the financial statements that have been presented? Disbursement report? None. All those in favor? Against? The motion is carried. Moving to our committee reports. First committee report, Public Works and Planning. Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Works and Planning Committee met on Wednesday, September 24th at 4:30 p.m. Present were Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Tom Pinsent, Councillor Bruce Moores, Town Manager Mike Pinsent, Jeff Sanders, Director of Engineering Works, Wayne Tate, Supervisor of Engineering Public Works, and myself as Chairperson. Crown Lands request, the committee discussed a request for a large parcel of land on Tulit Drive which abuts a parcel presently owned by the applicant. The committee recommends that this request be denied at this time. Decisions have not been finalized with the development along this arterial road. Council will be considering options when Tulit Drive has been completed. Traffic controllers. Staff presented pictures of traffic controllers in another community that had been painted by local artists depicting different scenes. The committee recommends that canvas be approached to paint the 5 traffic controllers in Grand Falls-Windsor. Various scenes will be presented to Council for approval. Patrick Street, Main Street intersection. The committee discussed several traffic issues with Main Street, Patrick Street, Bond Street area, and reviewed a drawing eliminating the majority of one-way streets. The committee recommends that this proposal be approved. Staff will notify residents, property owners, and businesses in the area of the proposed change. The appropriate signage, street markings, etc. will be established with advertising well in advance of the changeover. Hardy Avenue, Scott Avenue, Granville Heights intersection. The committee reviewed the issues with the intersection as well as the proposal from EXP to review roundabout design options. The committee recommends that no change be implemented until this report is received, which should be by the end of October. Staff will budget for solar-operated LED traffic signs and a trailer-mounted speed display sign. 7th Avenue, King Street intersection. The committee discussed the location of the stop sign at this intersection, and recommends they be relocated from King Street to 7th Avenue. Garbage regulations. The committee reviewed a list prepared by staff on the permanent garbage bins placed by the curb. This is contrary to our regulations. Notification will be given to all homeowners with these garbage bins requesting they be relocated If they do not comply, then action will be taken as per the regulations. Policy litter pickup, town staff. The committee discussed this policy to address a process for town employees to pick up litter encountered during their daily work. The committee recommends a hazard assessment be considered by our occupational health and safety officer to be incorporated into policy. When complete, the policy will be reviewed by committee for recommendation to council. Antenna on the water tank. The committee discussed a request for a wireless internet provider to install an antenna on the water tower that provides service to Grand Falls-Windsor. The committee recommends that staff investigate this option and enter into a contract if conditions are satisfactory to the company and the town. Land request, S&S Auto, Harris Avenue. The committee discussed a request from S&S Auto to purchase land at the rear of their building on Harris Avenue. The committee recommends that this be sold as per policy. Building Canada Fund. The committee reviewed the new Building Canada Fund and recommends this be deferred to the next committee of the whole for discussion. Cleanup order, 235 Grenfell Heights. The committee discussed the outstanding cleanup order for 235 Grenfell Heights and recommends the cleanup be completed no later than October 31st, 2014. Rural River Day. Rural River Day is scheduled for September 28, 2014. The committee recommends that a rear Packard garbage truck be provided to the cleanup group to assist with the disposal of waste collected. Correspondence, YMCA Queensway staff. The committee discussed correspondence from the YMCA daycare staff on Queensway to install several crosswalks. The committee recommends that proposed location be reviewed with the municipal police prior to making a decision. Tender results, Centennial Field drainage. The committee reviewed the tender results for a storm sewer installation on Centennial Field. The committee recommends the tender be awarded to Adams Construction for $276,341.50. The meeting adjourned at 6:40 p.m. Mr. Mayor, I move the recommendation and report of this committee.
It's moved by Councillor Finn. We have a seconder for that. Second by Councillor Pinsent. Any discussions or questions on the Public Works minutes as circulated? If there are no questions or discussions, what's that? No, I just didn't know if you had a question. I just happened to look at you, Councillor Mercer. It was a bit of a pause, because I wasn't sure where you were, coming with that. All those, no, not at all. I just.
I'd like to thank the committee, sir, for speaking again about the issue on Grenfell Heights, the four-way intersection. I spoke a lot at this last council meeting. I won't speak much about it this time, but I'd like to thank the committee for the consideration that they're going to put back into this intersection.
Thank you, Councillor Mercer. Any further discussions or questions? If not, all those in favor? Against? The motion is carried. Moving right along to Committee of the Whole. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Committee of the Whole met on 7 p.m. Tuesday, September 30th. Present were yourself as Mayor, Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillors Tom Pinsent, Amy Coady Davis, Bruce Morris, staff Michael Pinsent, Barry Griffin, Dave Nichols, and Jeff Saunders. New Building Canada Fund. The federal government has announced a new Building Canada Fund. The criteria appears to be targeting large-scale transportation and wastewater projects. The deadline for submission is October 30th, 2014 for the funding period 2014 to 2017. The committee recommends that the town apply for the following. Number one, second lagoon at the sewage treatment plan with UV disinfection to meet the 2020 Environment Canada effluent regulations at $5.25 million. Number two is a water line at Lincoln Road at $1 million, and number three is Duggan Street trunk sewer at $1.75 million for a total of $8 million. Parks and Recreation Infrastructure. The Parks and Recreation Committee recently met with minor baseball, minor soccer, senior men's softball, mixed softball, and senior baseball. There was a consensus from the groups that our mixed-use sports fields should be reconfigured to dedicated user groups. Specifically, that Goodyear Avenue should be minor baseball, and I think that should read just baseball in general. Centennial Field should be soccer and Main Street should be softball. Minor baseball and minor soccer are experiencing tremendous growth and have a solid dedicated volunteer base. The committee discussed at length the logistics of this. It was agreed that the first step is to install lights on one of the Main Street fields so that hours could be extended and accommodate all league play. There was consensus that over the next couple of years, the town would work towards achieving the overall goal of having the 3 dedicated sports areas. The committee recommends that $350,000 of our capital funding be approved to install lights on one of the Main Street softball fields in 2015. Central Waste Audit. The Town of Grand Falls-Windsor examined the 2013 audited statement for the Central Newfoundland Waste Authority and had several concerns. There are 2 services offered by the Central Waste, which are waste disposal and waste collection. The Town of Grand Falls-Windsor collects its own waste and therefore should not have to bear any costs associated with Central Waste collection operations. The audited statements showed that there were no administrative costs, insurance, advertising, and very little charge for utilities or other general costs. The collection operation makes up 20% of the Central Waste revenue stream and no doubt incurs costs in the areas mentioned. The Director of Finance met with the manager and the chair of the authority, and they are not willing to assign any of the core costs to the collection operation. The committee also discussed concerns over the rates charged by the authority for disposal. When the site at Norris Arm opened, Central Waste decided to charge patrons for the material recovery cost and the composting cost, even though they were not providing the service. Now it appears that these services will not be provided until sometime in 2015. Despite being charged the extra fees, the Waste Authority seems to need the higher rates to provide the basic service. This means when the material recovery and composting service becomes available, rates will have to increase. The original costing was landfilled $65 a ton, compost $35 per ton, material recovery $17 per ton, for a total of $117 per ton. If Central Waste costs at present require $117 per ton, then the town could conceivably have a $52 increase in fees when the new services are put in effect. The committee recommends this situation be monitored and further meetings be held with Central Waste. Naming rights for town buildings and facilities. The committee reviewed sample policies for the naming of town buildings and facilities. The committee recommends that nothing be done to allow the naming of our infrastructure at this time. I move the recommendations and report of this committee be adopted and the meeting adjourned at 9 p.m.
Moved by the Deputy Mayor, and before we get a second on that, I just want to note that Councillor Finn did attend the committee of the whole meeting, but was a little late because we had started the meeting earlier than we had regularly scheduled. And so just wanted to make that for the records that Councillor Finn was in fact at the committee of the whole meeting. So it's been moved by Deputy Mayor. Do we have a second there? Second by Councillor Coady Davis. Any questions, discussions on the minutes? Councillor Mercer.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. With the respect to Central Waste audit, I find this absolutely ludicrous that this is a provincial government initiative with all good intentions, given that the environment is at the forefront today, but yet with the scheme or payment plan that's in place for tonnage and tipping fees, I don't understand why we, as a council here in Grand Falls-Windsor, are subsidizing directly other towns. I'm not sure if the general public is aware of this or not. We've had a lot of discussions amongst council over the past year since me becoming a member of council, and I just find it absolutely ridiculous that we would subsidize others because the Central Newfoundland Waste Management Committee refuses to break down the calculation cost. We have our own garbage collection staff, and they do a great job. We have a great inventory of vehicles in our fleet for doing that. But I don't mean to be negative on other towns that are not in the position to go and buy this infrastructure and have the human resources in place to collect the garbage on their own. But essentially, we are subsidizing directly other towns. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I don't understand why the Central Newfoundland Waste Management Committee doesn't see that from our perspective. I understand they look at it from a global thing, but if we're not using all resources available to us from them, we shouldn't be paying all these costs, shared costs together. So if Central Waste Management, the executive and the board are not willing to look into this further and be fair and equitable to Grand Falls-Windsor about it, I think what we need to do is obviously go to the Minister and the Premier and get this resolved, because we are wasting taxpayers' money subsidizing other towns.
Thank you, Councilor Mercer. You appropriately said the word wasting, which is appropriate for what we're talking about. This has been an ongoing issue that we've had some discussions, and of course, our Director of Finance had met with them, and it looks like that at the present time, they have no intentions of acknowledging our significant contribution when it comes to that. And I think my biggest concern right now is it's going forward. If in fact the fees that we're now paying and does not include the composting, when that composting actually does happen, I think that's, how are the rates going to be adjusted then to accommodate for that, and obviously they're going up. Now, the authority on that, I don't know if our CAO, if you'd like to make a comment on this structure, because this has been an ongoing one. Before that, Councillor Finn.
I'll make a quick comment, Mr. Mayor. And just to communicate, I suppose, to the general public why Central Waste have been holding that position. And certainly, I certainly agree with Councillor Mercer. And that's why in our minutes reflect our opposition to the position of Central Waste. But from their point of view, their response to us is that the administration costs or cost of insurance or advertising or general costs are costs that they would have in place whether they were doing curbside or collection or not. So they were saying, well, if we weren't doing curbside collection, we'd still have administration costs, we still have insurance costs. And so they're saying, their accounting view is that those aren't impacting, there's really no cost to assign to the collection portion. So from an accounting, the application of the accounting principles point of view, we object to that because we know there is an amount of time spent of everybody's day or a large group of staff, certainly senior management of Central Waste, that would spend time scheduling the collection of garbage and all these locations across Central Newfoundland. The insurance costs, those trucks, garbage trucks and long haul trucks wouldn't exist if they weren't doing curbside collection. So there are expenses that could be assigned. I think the costs are not exorbitant for the town in terms of what the difference would be just on our own estimations. However, it's the principle, and we're more concerned about what the cost will be when the service grows in terms of waste separation and those kinds of things. So we want to, we're certainly as a council being proactive in dealing with the financial or the billing, how they build our town for their service, and we don't want it to get out of control for sure. And so I certainly agree with Councillor Mercer that if we're not able to resolve it, and at this point we've only agreed that we would respond to them, saying that we're not satisfied with their answer, and if we got to, then I guess we do have to go to respond or deal with the minister or beyond.
Okay, any further questions, discussions? Councillor Mercer?
To add what Councillor Finn just said, it appears to me from the conversations that our senior management have had with Central Newfoundland Waste Management over the past years that they're not willing to take us serious. The only way that we're going to get fairness here in Grand Falls-Windsor, if we lay off our employees that collect garbage on a regular basis and we sell off our fleet of vehicles, that's the only way. And I'm not interested in getting rid of our staff and subcontracting it out, because essentially, at the end of the day, that's all it is. The fees originally that were proposed to us were satisfactory fees, but we're paying $50, $60 extra per ton. And I may have said this sometime in the past in conversation. I don't think I've said it on the record. But if you're not willing to sit down and have a decent conversation and understand where we're coming from, listen, why are we even paying these people to dump the garbage? Don't send them the money. They'll come to the table then.
All right. Deputy Mayor?
I think it's safe to say that all council will echo the sentiments of yourself and Councillor Mercer and Councillor Finn in that regard. I'd just like to, expand a little bit on the the point in the minutes talking about the Parks and Recreation infrastructure and some readjustments that we've been discussing for future. And just to clarify, this is something that is not going to happen overnight. It will happen in phases over the next few years. But after meeting with the community groups, we found that a lot of their goals and objectives for the future, jived. And we thought it made a lot of sense to have these dedicated facilities for certain sports. And by doing so, that would position us better for hosting tournaments and for them to run their own programs. And as is mentioned in the minutes there, some of these programs are experiencing tremendous growth. Some people may question why you would put lights on Main Street Field initially. There's a couple of reasons. One is that in order for the softball leagues, which there are a couple right now, to have enough space to accommodate their programs, they would need extra field or lights on a field. So in discussions, we thought that it would be much more prudent to put lights on a field and have the maintenance of that one field going forward. So just a couple of points there. And then, of course, the other groups, minor baseball, are looking for some expansions of their facility on Goodyear Avenue, which they've shared. And we appreciate the concerns of some people who historically have been using certain facilities, but I guess at the end of the day, as a council, we've got to try to do what's in the best interest of all groups and the town as well. And then, of course, minor soccer as well are looking for an additional field, and we saw this summer numerous examples of how successful their programs become. So, it's something that's going to be going to unfold, I guess, over the next number of years, and we certainly hope it's embraced by all the groups and the community as a whole.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And again, I think it'll come up in the Parks and Recreation when we make reference to the groups that came in. Really, that's a really good exercise to engage the users, because the users are the ones that really have the answers when sometimes we probably not be able to see it, and it gives everybody a great opportunity to interact and give us their opinions and what they would like to see in the facilities that we have. So I think it's a great exercise, and I commend the Parks and Recreation Department and Committee for engaging in that exercise. And as we move forward more, that's the type of engagement that we would like, and I think it's important for us. So thank you for that, and I'm going to ask for all those in favor. And I'm going to ask for anybody against, and I'm going to say the motion's carried, and I'm going to Parks, Recreation, and Special Events. And Deputy Mayor, you're up again.
Don't mind hearing that here, but when you're on the golf green, it's not a good 3 words to hear, right?
Yeah, we know that, won't we?
But I'm used to it, yeah. Parks, Recreation, and Special Events Committee met on Tuesday, September 23rd, 2014 at 4:30 p.m. In attendance were myself as chair, Councilor Rodney Mercer, Amy Coady Davis, Bruce Moores, Tom Pinsent, Darren Finn. Staff, Michael Pinsent, Keith Antle, Todd Mercer, and David Nichols. Scott Avenue Activity Center proposal. The committee discussed the Scott Avenue Activity Center draft prepared by the Leisure Services Programmer in conjunction with the Exploits Valley Cross Country Ski Club. The committee approved the draft and agree with the scope of the project. The committee recommends that the Scott Avenue Activity Center proposal be submitted to the federal and provincial government for consideration. Corduroy Brook Conservation Place proposal. The committee discussed the Corduroy Brook Conservation Place proposal. The Leisure Services Programmer provided an update on the proposal. This project has been submitted to ACOA and IBRD for consideration for funding under the tourism sector. Red Maple Festival Cranberry Events. The committee discussed a memorandum from the town manager with respect to the inclusion of cranberry events for this year's Red Maple Festival. It was decided to introduce a few cranberry events, such as a cranberry cook-off at the Bada Rock culinary event sponsored by the Mount Peyton Hotel, and to sponsor an interactive cranberry farm tour. The committee noted that the dates of the 2014 Red Maple Festival have been expanded from October 24th to November the 5th. 2014 to accommodate these new activities. Any groups, associations, or individuals who wish to organize any events or activities can contact the Parks and Recreation Office by October the 15th, 2014. Playground structures placement. The committee discussed the placement of the playground structures for the new playground at the Goodyear Avenue complex. The committee recommends that the new exercise and activity structures be placed in one area and the other new structures be strategically placed throughout the playground. Any existing playground equipment to be utilized will remain in their current locations if possible. And Mr. Mayor, just to expand on that, the type of exercise equipment that we're referring to having down there will be suitable to all ages, and particularly to seniors to get down there, and for organized groups to be able to use that facility as they wish to for their organized activities. And a lot of people are looking forward to the completion of the work on Goodyear Avenue / Sutherland Drive. Goodyear Avenue Complex Landscaping. The committee discussed a memorandum from the town manager with respect to the need for an overall landscaping plan for the entire Goodyear Avenue complex surrounding the 3 construction projects. The committee recommends that staff prepare a concept plan and cost estimate for the landscaping of the entire complex. And on that note, Mr. Mayor, just for the citizens' benefit, I guess, the committee's been discussing a lot about landscaping around all our facilities. We want our facilities to look good, and you can have good infrastructure that allows sports and activities to take place, but when you've got some nice tree planting and well manicured brush and so forth around the fields, it does make a big difference, and it's something that we recognize and will be striving for. Manpower schedule for and cost for the splash pad. The committee discussed a memorandum from the town manager with respect to the department's scheduling of manpower and equipment to install the playground structures. The director will provide the committee with the scheduling of manpower and equipment to complete the installation of the playground structures at the next committee meeting. Presentation, Grand Falls-Windsor Minor Baseball Association. The committee welcomed representatives Mr. Terry Hamilton and Mr. Darrell Stacy of the Grand Falls-Windsor Minor Baseball Association to the meeting at 5:30 p.m. The minor baseball representatives thanked the committee for the opportunity to present information and the goals and objectives of the minor baseball program. The representatives also thanked the Parks and Recreation staff for the operation and maintenance of the fields for regular games and tournaments. Minor baseball would like the committee to consider potential and opportunities a Grand Falls-Windsor baseball complex would provide if one was to be installed at the Goodyear Avenue field. These opportunities include increased field and facilities usage and revenue advantages. The association also requested that they be provided with sole access to the Goodyear Avenue fields, clubhouse, and have the fields modified and equipped with lights on one field. The representatives would also pursue funding sources such as the Toronto Blue Jays Field of Dreams program and the Blue Jays minor camps. The group would also like the town to establish a Central Newfoundland training facility which could be used year-round, particularly in the winter season and during bad weather. The minor baseball representatives were excused at 5:55 p.m. Presentation, the Exploits Soccer Association. The committee welcomed Ms. Tammy Greening and President, Ms. Tammy Greening and Ms. Michelle Fewer, Communications Director of the Exploits Soccer Association, to the meeting at 5:55 p.m. The minor soccer representatives thanked the committee for the new soccer clubhouse. The new clubhouse has been a huge asset to the association, and it has enhanced the minor program. The representatives also thanked the department's staff for their assistance and maintenance throughout the summer. The association presented an overview of the program, tournaments hosted by, and tournaments attended outside of Grand Falls-Windsor. This summer, 239 participants were registered for the soccer program. The representatives presented their goals for consideration for long-term planning. These goals included extending the season, hosting more provincial tournaments, having at least one more full-sized field, having lighting for evening games, having a second set of full-size nets, and having a full soccer complex at Centennial Field. The minor soccer representatives were excused at 6:20 p.m. Presentation, Grand Falls-Windsor Mixed Softball Association. The committee welcomed Ms. Marie Knight, Ms. Debbie Knight, and Ms. Mary Folks of the Grand Falls-Windsor Mixed Softball Association to the meeting at 6:20 p.m. The representatives presented an overview of this past season and some issues that they would like to see resolved. This season, the league consisted of 5 teams. However, they expect to have 7 teams next year. There was some difficulty with the scheduling of games at Goodyear Avenue C Field with another group. The association requests that a new clubhouse be constructed, lights be added to the fields for late games, and that netting be erected between Goodyear A and B fields. The representatives also thanked the Parks and Recreation foreman for his work, assistance, and availability over the years. The mixed softball representatives were excused at 6:45 p.m. Presentation, Grand Falls-Windsor Men's Softball Association. The committee welcomed Mr. David Canning, President of the Grand Falls-Windsor Men's Softball League to the meeting at 6:45 p.m. Mr. Canning presented an overview this past season and some concerns the league would like to see addressed. This season, there was 6 teams consisting of 100 players in the league. They expect to have 1 or 2 new teams participate next season. Mr. Canning stated that the field maintenance was good this year and there was some improvements done to the fields. However, there were problems with the dugout's roof, and netting should be put up in right field of Main Street A field. The league would like to see lights put on both Main Street fields and a viewing area added to the existing clubhouse. This will allow games to be played later and will be a great asset to accommodate more teams for tournaments and to have make-up games due to bad weather. Mr. Canning stated that the league is flexible and could play all of their games at the Main Street fields if they can be accommodated. Mr. Canning was excused from the meeting at 7 p.m. The committee discussed the 4 presentations and comments from each of the groups. The committee feels that a long-term plan should be developed that will involve the restructuring of baseball, soccer, and the 2 softball leagues. The committee recommends that the presentations and a long-term plan for recreation infrastructure be discussed at the next committee of the whole meeting. And of course, Mr. Mayor, these groups came in, we asked them for their wish lists. A lot of these things that are being asked for, of course, may never occur, but we did take into consideration all their information and the requests, had the opportunity to ask questions, and I do agree with you wholeheartedly that that exercise is very valuable, and it might be something that this council wants to look at doing in other departments as well when necessary. Town band. The committee discussed correspondence received from the town band requesting assistance from the town to secure a rehearsal and storage space. The director noted that he has met with representatives of the town band and he is assisting the town band to find a suitable location. The committee recommends that the director continue to assist the town band to find a suitable location and report back at the next committee meeting. The committee discussed correspondence received from the Central Newfoundland Visual Arts Society, Canvas, requesting the use of the new soccer building on a seasonal basis to provide Canvas with a facility to operate. The director noted that the new soccer clubhouse can be utilized to accommodate both Canvas and the Exploits Soccer Association. The committee recommends that this request be approved and that the director work out the necessary arrangements. Fresh Start Theatre. Chairman Deputy Mayor Manuel had been contacted by a representative of Fresh Start Theatre. The youth theatre group has been experiencing difficulty obtaining rehearsal and operating space to offer their theatre program. The committee recommends that staff meet with the representative from Fresh Start Theatre and report back at the next Recreation Committee meeting. And Mr. Mayor, the last few points in the minutes basically point to the fact that this council is committed to trying to foster the arts and to support because we talk a lot about sport and the arts, and some people kind of feel there might have been a discrepancy over the years. But we're certainly committed to trying to help these groups, and it's great to see that Canvas now is able to use our soccer building in the wintertime while soccer is not using it, and maximizing the use of the building and allowing them to carry out their programs, which they're planning on getting started sometime in the future. They were just waiting on a facility to be able to do that. So it's great to see, and certainly if anybody else out there feels that they would like to meet with the Parks and Recreation Committee about these, about anything really that's pertinent to their group, then they can contact the Leisure Services Programmer, or certainly contact me or anybody directly, and we can arrange to have that arranged. ATV access. The committee discussed access to ATV routes throughout the town and access routes to the trailway. There is a balance between being an ATV-friendly community and providing routes that are safe for operators and the general public. The staff will circulate the current town maps with the ATV routes, listing, and the committee will discuss this matter at future committee meeting. Biking routes. The committee discussed a procedure to establish biking lanes and routes throughout the community. It was noted that there needs to be some planning for bike routes in new paving areas. The committee will identify some possible primary biking routes and discuss this topic at a future committee meeting. Corporate sponsorship, naming rights on recreation facilities. The committee discussed corporate sponsorship, naming rights on recreation facilities. The committee recommends that this matter be referred to the committee of the whole for further discussion. Memorial grounds. The committee discussed the progress of the Memorial Grounds redevelopment project. The committee recommends that a final meeting be held with the Royal Canadian Legion representatives and that staff proceed with the project. Correspondence, ArtX. The committee discussed correspondence from the ArtX 2014 committee requesting financial support to present ArtX 2014. The committee recommends that the town provide $1,000 to assist with the sponsorship of this event. Age-friendly benches. The director informed the committee that the 20 benches and garbage receptacles supplied through the Age-Friendly Initiative Committee have all been placed in various locations throughout the town. The committee is pleased with these new benches and receptacles and feel they will provide extra comfort and support for all our citizens. 2014-15 ice rental schedules. The director presented the 14-15 stadium's final ice time schedules. It was noted that certain changes must be made at various times to accommodate tournaments, special events, and senior hockey games. The committee recommends that the presented schedules be approved. 2014 fall programs. The Leisure Services Programmer presented a tentative fall program schedule for the committee to review and discuss. The schedule will be finalized in the next few weeks. And that's something a little different that the Parks and Recreation Department have been trying to offer programs in the fall and winter months that our citizens can avail of. So, be notified that there are things for our citizens to do all times of the year. And if you want more information on that, again, get in touch with the Recreation Department. Parks and Recreation Fall and Winter Brochure. The Leisure Services Programmer informed the committee that staff will be working on a fall-winter brochure. Any group, associations, or individuals who has any leisure programs, events, or activities planned can contact the Parks and Recreation Department by October 25th, 2014 for inclusion in the brochure. The meeting adjourned at 7:15 p.m. I move the recommendations and report of this committee. I wonder if that's correct, the time that meeting, I think it's more like 9 or 10:15. So I'd like to check to see the time on that.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Do we have a seconder? Do we have a seconder for the, for these minutes? Second by Councillor Moores. Any questions, discussions on the lengthy set of minutes from Parks and Recreation and Special Events? Any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Almost gotcha.
Just in an effort to try to inform everybody about, as if I haven't been talking enough here, I know, but you can see there's a lot of stuff going on in all our departments, and Parks and Recreation is no different. We talked about the Scott Avenue facility and improvements to it, and I can't remember exactly what we refer to it as now. The activity center, exactly. And right now, of course, it's a cross-country ski trail.
Yeah.
The cross-country ski club in the last couple of years have gone from 22 members to last year, I think the year before last, to 83 members to up over 200 members last year. So again, another example of a growing, active community group in our town. So we've been talking about some improvements to that facility, which would include some improvements to the ski facility itself, perhaps lighting on a portion of that so that people can enjoy some nighttime skiing, because as you know, people work in the daytime, the days are short, and it'll be a big advantage to have them able to get out there in the nighttime as well. A dedicated sledding hill down there, and of course have the facility be able to be used 12 months of the year for mountain biking and walking and those sorts of activities as well. So the council has already budgeted $400,000 for a new ski hut down there, a chalet, whatever, something combination of both, I guess you could call it, to replace the structure that's down there now, who, if anybody's been down there to see it, is long overdue for replacement. And we decided that we could take that $400,000 and try to parlay that, I guess, into more money from different funding sources to be able to accomplish more down there. So just a little explanation of what exactly that activity center is all about.
Well done, and looking forward to it. I may even go out and purchase a set of skis myself if I get so excited about the snow, which I am. Good job. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. Moving right along to the next most important item. Best kept secret coming up. Councillor Finn, Salmon Festival. Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Salmon Festival Committee meeting Committee met on Tuesday, September 30th at 4:30 p.m. Present were the Deputy Mayor Al Hawkins, Councillor Darren Finn, Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Bruce Moores, Councillor Amy Coady Davis, Councillor Tom Pinsent, staff Barry Griffin, Dave Nichols, and Mike Pinsent. The medical incident report. The committee reviewed the medical incident reports for the 2014 Salmon Festival. It was noted no incidents of a serious nature occurred. The labor report. The committee reviewed the labor report for the Salmon Festival generated for the Salmon Festival generated $32,767 in local wages and employed 171 local workers. The sales summary. The committee reviewed the sales and attendance report. The unit sales and attendance were less than last year. The committee will discuss the results further at a future meeting. Police report. The police report for the Salmon Festival weekend reported no incidents of a serious nature occurred. The committee was pleased with the outcome. Salmon Festival financial report. The committee reviewed the financial performance of this year's Salmon Festival event. The net loss was $476,899. The committee recognizes that this year's attendance was below target and undesirable for council. It was noted that the 3 previous years' events yielded positive results and a net income of $225,000. The committee will review these results in detail and will be discussing our future plans with our concert partners. Mr. Mayor, the meeting adjourned at 7 p.m. and I move the recommendation and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Finn. We have a seconder for that. Councillor Pinsent, any questions, discussions on the Salmon Festival Committee meeting? Okay, if there's not, I'd just like to make a comment or two. You can go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
To someone else to kind of jump in there. I know we've been having a lot of discussion, of course, amongst ourselves about the Salmon Festival, and you know, there's no doubt that that kind of loss in one year is devastating to all the council. And if we said we weren't tremendously disappointed, I think we would be lying. But on a positive note, there are a number of things I'd like to point out. You know, you look at this year's festival. It's well noted that it was a great concert, despite the low numbers, and that a lot of the problems that existed in past concerts, particularly in 2013, were addressed, and that came with the water and the VIP and that. There's no doubt that in the future we're going to have to take a long look at the future Salmon Festival, because not only was the concert not well attended, but our other events that surround the festival weren't well attended either. You look at other communities in this province who budget monies each year for their festivals. You know, CBS is an example in Gander, budgeting $100,000 and $90,000 annually with no revenue. One could argue, and I know this is, people are going to say, well, this is all about spin, I know. But the fact is, if you look at the last 3 years, CBS had a net loss of $300,000 for their festival. Gander had 270. Obviously, if you look at the minutes there, we had 250. So, and when you look at what exposure the Salmon Festival brings to our community and the economic spin-off that's generated from it, that's not factored into here. I think overall, you know, we take this as very much a learning experience this year, and that we need to make sure that we make good decisions in the future, that this does not happen again to this degree. And I'm sure, Mr. Mayor, you would have something to add to that, but just a few comments that I wanted to point out from my personal perspective.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and certainly, you know, it's any time you put off a concert of the magnitude of the Salmon Festival, there's always there's a degree of risk. If you're in business, there's a degree of risk. And again, when we look at the situation we were faced with under the circumstances, again, you know, you can't predict what's going to happen. Obviously, as we got closer to the concert, we knew that there were some serious issues with regards to numbers. And at that particular point in time, it's, you know, you have to move ahead. You've got contracts signed, and you've got to live up to these contracts. As of course most people know, that, you know, we are only just a partner. We are a limited, I guess I can use the term, a limited partner in this whole exercise of Salmon Festival. We do have there are significant partners that became a part of the Salmon Festival and the structure of the Salmon Festival. Outdoor concerts in Newfoundland and Labrador can be a risk. And over the last 30 years, councils and subsequent councils and previous councils, and these are all, you make this conscious decision on, is this something that you want to have for your community? And I think the Deputy Mayor said it well when he said that marketing value alone. I mean, the town of Grand Falls-Windsor is the Salmon Festival or any major concert in the province is synonymous with Grand Falls-Windsor. I mean, we are the concert capital, I guess, when it looks at summertime. Again, you know, from my position, I'm extremely disappointed. I think the Deputy Mayor made it clear in that, and I think it's pretty evident, that all of our activities during that week are pretty much around the concert. If we have a good, solid, strong numbers in concert, our activity numbers at the dinner theater or at our salmon dinner, at our Friday night dance, at our Newfoundland, what do we call it this year? Our shed party. You know, historically, if our concert numbers up, our activities are up. If our concert numbers are down, our activities are down. And that's primarily because of the fact that people are coming into Grand Falls-Windsor, and while they're in the Grand Falls-Windsor, they're taking part in these activities. You know, again, I think the Deputy Mayor clearly made the statement. If you go back over the last 30 years, we have made what I would consider to be small investments over the run of the 30 years, and it becomes very easy. Becomes very, very easy to isolate one event, 1 year. It becomes very, very easy to do that. That's an easy target to look at. And while we all express our concerns about it, I think and I believe the year before that with the Eagles, again, you know, it's great to be a Monday morning quarterback. I mean, that's the easiest job in the world Monday morning, is to get and be a Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, that play should have been done, or that play should have been done, or that play should have been done. The challenge comes is when you got to make that plan prior to and not be that Monday morning quarterback. And these are decisions as councils that we've got to make. And again, you know, sometimes, you know, they work out, and sometimes they don't work out. And I guess in our situation, if we go back to the year before, whether some of the carryover from the negative publicity that we got, and Lord only knows we got it, and I always said we had 25,000 people to the Eagles concert. I received 300 negative emails out of 25,000. Now, you do the ratio on that on any event, and you only have 300. But guess what? The 300 negative comments, and when you have people out threatening class action suits and encouraging people to take part in these, that's a negativity that takes its toll, and for a period of time, we've got to wear that. Hats off to everybody this year I mean, there are some positive things that came out of it with regards to our police, with regards to our incidents, with regards to taking care of our VIP. So you learn from experiences, you learn from your mistakes, you move on. If you make a mistake, we got to be man enough to own up to the mistakes and say, look, yeah, we could have done it better. We're moving on to that. We're making that improvement. And I think out of that, as we move forward, I think that's an important direction for us. Obviously, the minutes clearly state that we are going to take. I mean, it's not something you just take lightly. We will take a look at it. But again, you know, will it be the end of the Salmon Festival? I don't think so. I think a lot of our business community would be rather upset. because, again, there's a significant economic spin-off for our local businesses. Now, not all of our businesses will have an impact from it, but a lot of them do. And so I think it's something that we will look at and put together what we think. I mean, you can put together the best possible concert in the world, and if you don't sell tickets, then there's not going to be a profit to it. So, yeah, we've certainly got to take some look at that, and I'm encouraged that we will be able to put off another good show. I want to see that glass half full, consider it to be half full and not half empty.
Mr. Mayor, in saying that, I agree with both what you said and Deputy Mayor and that kind of thing. Yeah, there were some issues. Not going to disagree. Were the hours? Did we do anything wrong? Absolutely not. There were some logistical issues with booking a date, changing a date, and I think overall the concert went phenomenally well. I've been to a lot of concerts. I've been to concerts where there have been 88,000 people on the field, and I've been to concerts like ours this year, and I think our concert was the best one yet. Did we receive a fair shake? Absolutely not. Were there media that gave us an unfair shake? Absolutely. And I don't think that helped us at all. Like, we had issues from previous year, no doubt about it. Yeah, we ran out of water. We had almost 30,000 people on the field. There was a great time, but there are always some people that want to complain and they want to launch civil action suits and all that kind of stuff. But all these people that wanted to launch class action suits against the town of Grand Falls-Windsor and the Salmon Fest, how many of them walked up to the gate that night in 2013 and said, I want a refund. I want my money back. There's too many people there on the field. Like you said about the Monday morning quarterbacks or whatever, like they complain a couple of days later because they weren't given the royal treatment. They weren't ushered in. They never had a concierge to go to. They never had a butler or a maid to say, oh, excuse me, can you go get me another drink or a beverage, that kind of thing. But you know something? All this sort of came together and went away after a couple of weeks. But then there were media a year later that kept bringing it up. And even the rat lady, bought the rat lady from CBS. Remember that? Party on the dance floor? I think we got a fair shake out of that? Absolutely not. And that's why I went to the CBC and the Ombudsman and filed a complaint. We had our own issues with Denise Wilson. I think she's regional manager with CBC now. She retracted the story, wouldn't give an apology, and because of our town manager, who was aggressive enough, and as he seen the statements come up on the website, he printed it off for his own record. This was our proof to say, guys, you did wrong. You treated us unfairly. Anyone else around the province with festivals get treated the way we did? Absolutely not. And I don't understand why today that we were given a provincial, I can't say that. I can't say what's on my mind, but were we treated fairly? Absolutely not. Did we deserve the negative feedback and the media attention? No. So I think what we need to do, we need to look past all this on a go-forward basis and say, listen, we'll plan for next year, we'll be better and hopefully bigger, and if not, who cares? It's a week-long festival, it's ours. The Salmon Fest to us is branding, just like the pitcher plant is to the government advertisements on the web. So I think we did a fantastic job, despite the numbers.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments? Councillor Pinsent, are you moving? Are you?
I wasn't going to, I was going to speak with this in the other business, but if I want to speak with Salmon Festival, I will.
Well, you don't have to.
I don't have to, but I will say it since we're all joined now. I was going to wait for other business, but as you're reading through the minutes, this strikes me really funny, and it struck me really funny when and there's nothing against the lady that did it, the big rush to get the microphone up here from CBC. Yet, when we were doing all the other minutes, and let's put this in perspective, we had a budget this year of $14 million roughly. Am I correct in saying that, capital works projects? We just spent the minutes of Parks and Rec, of Public Works, talking about splash pads, parks, and we're spending a ton of money. We're investing, not spending, we're investing a ton of money. Something to the tune of $14 million. And all the news is going to, I'm afraid, all the news is going to report, the big rush to get the microphone for that was the loss of the Salmon Festival. So I agree with what Councillor Mercer said, and I agree with what everybody's saying, is that have we been given a fair shake? No, not really. Are we happy with it? Of course we're not. There's a lot of things we need to look at. You know, if we're going to bring a concert and a festival like this, and the people want to have it, you have to support it. No more to it than that. And if you want to be vindictive and say, well, we're not going to go there and watch you guys go down, well, guess what? You won't have it. No more to it than that. It's as simple as that. But putting it in perspective, let's put it in perspective. Most of our time in a year here in this council, I've only been here a year, and I can speak for that, is that we've been doing business. The Salmon Festival is this big of it. Okay, all the other things, but it's amazing tonight, and I was really, and I mean nothing against the girl that did it, but she ran up here with the microphone when the Salmon Festival report was read. Nothing was said, nothing will show up in the news media. I would hope it will, but I bet you it will not show up. All the other good, positive things that are going on that we're putting into the town, in parks, and in splash parks, and into paving, and the things that have been going around the town. That's what we're here to do. The Salmon Festival is but a small piece of it, and I would hope the news media would at least recognize that it is a small part. It is something we're not happy about, and I mean, we've talked about it in great length, but I just like to put that, and I just found that funny, that when I seen that, so I just hope they put it in perspective tomorrow, that's all.
Okay, any further? Councillor Finn, last word? Beg your pardon? Do you want to give her the floor? Sure. This is your choice.
She's our favorite female councilor.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor Finn, I appreciate that. I just wanted to make a point. You know, I understand where the rest of council is coming from, and I myself, you know, do have issues with how we do get portrayed in the media with regards to the Salmon Festival. In fairness to the media, the Salmon Festival is the story here tonight, which is why I've been saying through economic development for quite some time that we need to start controlling our own message. We need to start using our Facebook, our Twitter, social media, doing our own media releases and controlling the message, getting the message out that we want the province to know, that we want our community to know. Our community will watch our council meeting tonight, and again, they'll be available online, so that, you know, they will be available to residents. And they know what we're doing for our residents. Our residents understand that we have their best interests at heart. Deputy Mayor spoke tonight about the community groups who came in and spoke to us with regards to sporting, with regards to the arts. We're very open, we're very accepting of our community groups, and you know, we will continue to do that. The Salmon Festival is a story. It's what the province is interested in. What we're interested in is the best interest of our residents, and as long as our residents know that, and we carry that through, and control the message that we get out there, I think we'll be fine. And as for Salmon Festival, we'll continue on with the Salmon Festival. We'll do the best job that we can. We hope that the province and people from outside of the province, and especially within our own community, will support us in our efforts to do that. So I think we just continue on the path that we're going. We need to make improvements in how we communicate, and I think if we do that, then we will be the winners at the end of the day, regardless of how the media or you know, other areas of the province chose to portray you know, the different situations that we find ourselves in being one of the top, and I shouldn't say one of the top community and the best community in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm proud. I'm so proud to Councillor Finn.
Thank you,
Last
Mr. Mayor. I guess to close out, and thank everybody for their comments. You know, the committee, the Salmon Festival Committee does involve all the council at, when it's underway and is starting to get ready again for the 2015 year. And there's a ton of work, and there's a ton of people involved outside of the committee and the town council itself. This past year was the 30th anniversary, and I think the Salmon Festival is a point of pride for our community, and that's what we got to remember. It's a point of pride for us, and as councillors, we have to keep that in the forefront in what we do. The Deputy Mayor made a comment in his remarks tonight that, you know, when you look at this particular loss this year of 476,000 in the context of 1 year, of course that seems, it is a lot of money. But when you put that in the context of the past 4 years with this promoter, since we've taken the approach of targeting world-class entertainment, we've had wins for the past 3 years, but so over the past 4 years, it really nets out to about $250,000 loss. So if you were to take $250,000 and spread that over the 4 years, given that we haven't budgeted for losses, which communities do budget for festival. A festival is a normal expense for building community spirit and pride. So if we had done that, this is really not a loss. Of course, we don't target an expense because we know we generally can make money on it. And we have 30 years of experience, and we're going to go and do 31 years this coming year. And so when you put it in that context, and it's not spin, it's reality, those are numbers. So when you put it in that context, the event, you have to look at the event as a success. We had world-class entertainment this year. We had Maroon 5, Pitbull, and other bands on the concert. They gave a fabulous concert. We had no complaints on the field. And as a council, we're fully aware of the risks. And, the risks came to fruition this year. And not our desirable outcome, but nevertheless, we know the risks. We have 2 more years. We're beginning our thinking and our early preliminary work into planning for next year. And from my perspective, and I guess from my perspective, we are looking forward, and we're going to plan for next year. We have still a remaining commitment with the promoter for world-class entertainment, and that's the direction we're moving. And when you take 1 year's losses against all the other successes, the odds are we will have more successes than losses. And that's where I am, Mr. Mayor. So I want to thank all the council for their remarks and their participation.
Thank you, Councillor Finn. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Moving to Finance Administration, Councillor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Finance Administration Committee met Thursday, September 25th, 2014 at 4:30 p.m. In attendance, Mayor Hawkins, myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Manuel, Councillor Bruce Moores, Councillor Finn, Councillor Coady Davis, and Councillor Tom Pinsent. Staff, Barry Griffin and Mike Pinsent. Cash collection. The committee reviewed the taxation receivable report as of August 31st. Total taxes outstanding as of that date are $2,419,430, a decrease of $87,645, equivalent of about 3.5% from the previous year. Sponsorship request. The committee received a request for sponsorship of a joint gala co-hosted by the Canadian Cancer Society and the Grand Falls-Windsor Cataracts. The committee recommended we decline the sponsorship. The committee recommended we purchase a table of 8 for this event. Job description, engineering inspector. The committee reviewed the job description for the engineering inspector. The committee recommends this be approved. Labor report. The committee reviewed the labor report as of week 38. Total labor year-to-date is $2,302,000, approximately $25,759 over budget. Search and rescue. The committee reviewed a request from the Exploits Ground Search and Rescue for funding for a Generalink system to connect the generator to the building. The committee noted that this would be of great benefit in the event of an emergency response and recommends that it be approved for the amount of $1,500. Mental wellness and suicide prevention. The committee received a request for funding from the Community Minders Group. The committee recommends that this group be requested to provide more financial information for further review. Central Regional Service Board, should read Central Newfoundland Waste Management Committee. The committee reviewed the financial statements of the Central Newfoundland Waste Management Committee pertaining to the allocation of indirect overhead cost. The committee recommends that we request the committee to allocate these expenses on a percentage basis to both waste management and curbside collection. Municipal Assessment Agency. The committee reviewed correspondence on nomination for a central representative to serve on the board of directors. The committee recommends that we nominate Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel for this position. Taxi fares. The committee reviewed a request to increase taxi rates. Turning my pages. The committee recommends that the rate be approved at $3.75 plus 20 cents per tenth of a kilometer. The committee recommends that this rate be effective November 1st, 2014. The meeting adjourned at 7 p.m. I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
It's been moved by Councilor Mercer, second by Deputy Mayor. Any questions, discussions on the finance and administration minutes? If not, all those in favor and against, motion's carried. Notice of motion. Other business, starting with Councilor Coady Davis tonight, and I just, as a precursor, let's try to keep our comments short, to the point.
Well, I'm glad you started with me. So I'll take
We're gonna be
everyone else's
short,
time.
to the point.
No, but I'll finish up before everyone else does.
Okay, 5-minute time.
Shouldn't be a problem. First up, I want to say, I just want to show, I attended the Monter Baseball closing banquet, and they did present, on behalf of Monter Baseball, a plaque to the town. Says, to the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, thank you in appreciation for your continued support of Grand Falls-Windsor Monter Baseball 2014. So I want to say thanks to Monter Baseball for that plaque. It was certainly my pleasure to be there to accept that on behalf of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. I also want to say thanks to Monter Baseball, Monter Soccer, the men's softball, and the mixed softball. And I know Deputy Mayor touched on it in his minutes. But I just wanted to say, they came in, they had presentations prepared, they were engaged, they answered our questions, their presentations were great, and I just wanted to say how appreciative we are of that. So many times, you know, we talk about and have so many different conversations with different groups. It's so nice when these groups come in prepared and know exactly what it is that they're asking for and be able to communicate that to us, because it just helps us in our decision-making when we move forward with planning. So I want to say thank you to them for that. I know Councillor Moores is going to talk on the Fire Hall open house tonight, but I just want to say, as I've been following Twitter this evening throughout our council meeting, the fire chief has been posting photos and tweeting photos. There's a massive crowd there this evening. They're doing presentations on fire extinguishers, you know, meet your firefighters, talking about fire safety, the importance of fire detectors, smoke detectors. And also this week, they visited 47 classrooms and 1,087 students from grades kindergarten to grade 6. So, you know, and these are volunteers, and it takes time to visit that many schools and that many children. So I want to say thank you to them for their continued work in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. A couple of plugs. The town band will be having a Christmas show on December 7th at the Gordon Pinsent Center for the Arts, and the jazz band will be having their concert, again to celebrate their 30th anniversary, on November the 24th, also at the Gordon Pinsent Center for the Arts. I did attend, I mentioned it at our last council meeting, a violence-informed community preventing family violence seminar, which was hosted by the Violence Prevention South and Central and the Status of Women. It was at the Memorial United Church, to a full house in their little arena area there. They had participants from right across central Newfoundland into the west coast, and I think maybe even from the east coast as well were there. They had 2 presenters from Nova Scotia who were fantastic, and it was very informative, very well attended, and I want to say thanks to the Violence Prevention South and Central and Status of Women for continuing to really push the importance of violence prevention in our community and in central Newfoundland. So hats off to them, and I want to say keep up the good work because you're doing a great job. And my last item, our council meetings. I guess we picked a great one to upload to our website for our first council meeting available to the general public online. It will be on our website on Monday, thanks to Rogers for that. So I would encourage residents to view the council meeting online as well as on Rogers. It'll be available on our website on Monday, and this will continue every 3 weeks in our regular council schedule. Our meeting on Tuesday, the following Monday, our council meeting will be available online, and you will be able to view past meetings as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to say thank you to Amy for mentioning the firemen. I'm sure they appreciate your kind words. This is a Fire Prevention Week, of course, and it's a great time for people to sit with their family and practice their home escape that they have in place. And if you don't have your home escape in place, maybe it's a good time to set it up and practice it with your family, because it's a great event and it really does save lives. And fire detectors, we ask that you check your fire detectors, smoke detectors, at least once a month. And every 6 months, we ask you to replace the batteries in them. And we have a marker for it. We say when the time goes back, you change your smoke detectors, and when the times goes, your batteries, and when the times goes ahead, you change your batteries in your smoke detectors. So I'm just want to let you know, because it's only a couple of weeks and we'll be having a time change. So replace them, whether they're gone or not, just replace them at least twice a year. I'd like to congratulate Fire Chief Vince McKenzie. Vince was elected to the Board of Directors for the Canadian Fire Chiefs Association just a couple of weeks ago. It's the first time that a Newfoundlander has been elected to this association, and I congratulate Vince, and I'm sure he will do us proud. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Morris. Councilor Mercer.
In keeping with
Sure.
fire prevent, no, I got maybe 25 minutes. In keeping with fire prevention, like Councillor Coady Davis and Councillor Moore said, it's great that fire prevention weeks are organized every year, especially to the extent that they are. And every year there's a theme and checking smoke detectors and all that. But it's not just about checking the one thing, it's about going over the full gamut of fire protection and all that kind of stuff. And one thing I'd like to add from a personal note is fire extinguishers. You got a fire extinguisher there, Mr. Mayor? Absolutely. Just this past summer, he's about to douse me out. Just this past summer, folks, I happened to be on the scene of an accident. We had a boat in tow, and according to the rules of Transport Canada and being a licensed boater, you got to carry fire extinguishers. So fortunately, I had a fire extinguisher with me at the time at the scene of an accident, and it was worth its weight in gold. So in addition to your smoke detectors, make sure you get fire extinguishers close by. One is not enough. Have several. Put one in the trunk of your car, in the back of your van, whatever. So just a little bit of advice for the amount that they cost. Fire extinguishers well worth the money. On another note, this morning I had the opportunity to chat with Mayor Philip Wood from the town of Bay Roberts. Mayor Wood is a longtime personal friend of mine, and I called him this morning to pass along our sympathies to the town on the loss of 2 employees that were working on the building yesterday afternoon. Unfortunately, some roofers became in contact with some overhead live wires, and the result was an unfavorable one. So I just wanted to call Mayor Wood and pass along sympathies on behalf of the town. I know that the first responders on the scene were town employees, and it's not what the average office employee wants to witness or take part in on a daily basis, but Mayor Wood informed me that councillors were around this afternoon to help the employees. So our prayers and thoughts go to the families, and well wishes go to the first responders on the scene. If you notice, Mr. Mayor, it's not St. Patrick's Day or anything like that. I'm wearing a nice green tie, and I'm doing that tonight in support of the CPS Soccer Association. Last month, media headlines just across Canada. Some idiot of an adult, right, decided that he was going to run out on the field and, in a senseless act of idiocy, not to mention lack of respect for human life, stabbed a young 11-year-old boy in the neck. I'm not sure if he stabbed him with a knife or pen, but senseless act, idiotic. And so our prayers and thoughts go to the family for speedy recovery. And what's saddening the most is that we as parents, when we enlist our children into these community programs, we often think that the soccer field or the baseball diamond or the rink is the safest place for our kids. But this happens everywhere, so if any of you that got kids, this is an opportunity to you to maybe go home this evening or any other evening and be thankful that they're with us and that they're safe and that there are idiots out there and that we can never be too protective. So, and this strikes home close for us because we've got a great organization here in town, whether it's the Soccer Association, the Baseball Association, and this sort of hits home with us because this could have happened on our own soccer field anywhere at all. So, just like to pass along our sympathies and well wishes for this young fella. Last week, myself and the Economic Director, Gary Hennessy, had the opportunity to attend EDAC, Economic Development Association Canada conference in Calgary. And it was the first of my kind attending a conference like this. And I got to say, it was well worth the exhausting trip out to Calgary. There was a great conference. And sometimes when you attend conferences like this in a larger city, you say to yourself, well, we're much smaller in Grand Falls-Windsor. How does this pertain to what we're doing? And one of the keynote addresses at the conference was a lady by the name of Dr. Catherine Laughlin. And in her opening remarks, she talked about being from North Carolina, growing up in the States, and that she's a leading social scientist in placemaking, and she's well known around the world, but more so in North America. And in her introduction, she talks about traveling through the States. She talks about traveling out to Vancouver, giving conferences in Toronto, Montreal, and being in Calgary. And she talked about her visit in her opening remarks to Grand Falls-Windsor a couple of years ago. So I was quite impressed that here's a leading social scientist from the United States in her opening remarks talking about Grand Falls-Windsor. She had no idea that myself or Gary Hennessy were in attendance, but she spoke about being here and how vivid her memories were, about keeping her moose eyes on during the nightly drive into Grand Falls-Windsor and how she enjoyed her trip here. But putting all that aside, great lady, she impressed me right from the onset about talking about Grand Falls-Windsor. But in your packages this past week, I included a copy of her presentation that she forwarded to me. It's all about placemaking and how we build a community. And do we do it as a town or do we do it as an individual? And it's well worth your read. And if anyone wants to search her and read some of her information, Catherine Laughlin, well worth to read, great lady. Moving on, I know the mayor's looking at his watch. I only got six.
I'm similar to full rank on this time.
I only got 6 or 7 more items, Mr. Mayor. I just want to give an update on the Grand Falls House Committee. At the last council meeting, I couldn't really reveal much information, but after considerable review and discussion, the committee has chosen Group ATN Consulting from Halifax as the successful proponent. They were the cheapest by far, but they were the most impressive. So we've notified the proponent, and they're ready to start. We're just waiting on some final papers from IBRD and the COA to be signed just to get it all formalized. And so that should be starting very soon. Moving on, Exploits TrailNet, formerly the Snowmobile Federation. They're having their annual general meeting tonight at Mount Peyton. I know it's a conflict with the open house at Fire Hall, but hopefully they'll get a good turnout. And I spoke with someone from the executive today, and they just wanted me to pass along the thanks from the Exploits TrailNet to the town for the work last year and the cooperation. And so I said I would do that. And Their goal essentially is to make central Newfoundland and Grand Falls-Windsor the leading snowmobile adventure place in all of Atlantic Canada. So kudos to the group for their work. Those attending Municipalities Newfoundland Labrador Convention this coming weekend,
Absolutely.
so I'd like to wish you all well.
Thank you. It's
And I'd
gonna
like
be
to
a-
wish you well,
It's gonna be a
Mr.
week-
Mayor.
It's
in
going to be
your-
a week of work, but
But it's what
No
you
pleasure
enjoy.
for
If you
me.
enjoy it, you don't call it work, right?
no
So,
pleasure for me.
oh yes, it is pleasure. I'm sure you'll enjoy your policy sessions,
Yeah, right.
no matter how dull or boring they are on Saturday morning, bright and early. So if anyone's in Corner Brook area and
I've got
wants
it.
to get out and listen to the mayor,
I've got to endure it, man.
right? But,
Yeah, true.
one
There's two
other,
sides of that.
one other question, is more of a question in other business.
Who's the question to?
I don't know really, but it's sort of like a public works question. Some time ago, we discussed about the signs on some of our streets that were named after world wars. And we discussed in committee
Just get a chuckle here, yeah.
that we were going to redesign the sign with a poppy to be included as a remembrance and sort of like a little notification of, well, this is a world war or battle that's being commemorated. Any updates on that? That just came to my mind. Any updates at all?
To that, I guess, I've been involved in some discussions with the Legion on that. Of course,
Okay.
initially, it was their request that the town look at putting the poppy symbol on the streets, that it would be appropriate. Our response to them was, absolutely, we'd love to do that, but we would like for you guys to identify what streets to do that for. Now, obviously, we don't have all that information. We kind of ran into a little bit of, I guess, red tape, if you will, with the high command of Legion in Canada, the protocol and that, and we needed permission in order to do this. So we've been waiting on the Legion well, I should say a representative from Legion who we've been dealing with, to get back to us, because it was, his duty, I guess, to go and get that approval. And we've yet to do it, we've yet to get it, because we were hoping to have this done by Remembrance Day. So, I know I've tried to contact the Legion on a couple of occasions in the last couple of weeks. I know the Director of Engineering have tried to contact as well via email and phone and been unsuccessful. So until we get approval via the Legion, there's nothing we could do in that regard. So I hope that answers your question.
Maybe what we should do is touch base with the provincial command directly. And hopefully, I think it sounds like it got a lot to do with copyright or something, so I would imagine that's what it is. My apologies, in my Finance and Administration Committee meeting, the Director of Public Works passed along a memo for me to mention. So, Mr. Pinsent, I'm not sure if you want to mention this under other business or go back to my committee meeting?
It's
It's pertaining-
appropriate for you now, in order, you can just make the motion. It's in order for you to make that motion, just read as given there.
Yep.
And then move in second, and we'll move it along.
Perfect. Fabulous. Goodyear Park Clubhouse. Tenders for the Goodyear Park Clubhouse closed on Wednesday, October 1st, 2014. 6 bids were received, ranging from $405,522 to $634,176. The pre-tender estimate was $400,000. The low bidder was Burnt Bay Construction for $405,522, and we recommend tender be awarded.
It's been moved by Councillor Mercer. We have a seconder for that. Seconded by Councillor Finn. Any discussion or questions on the tender? If not, all those in favor? Against, motion carried. And that give him another chance. Councillor Pinsent.
I feel bad for you, Councillor Mercer. Sure you do. I've only had a few things. I'll only take half hour or so. Just speak about the cadets, the cadet weeks, and noticed that last week was cadet week, and it was great to have it up here. Cadets are an absolutely wonderful organization. My son joined, getting away from his computer. But his first couple of weeks, he's already learned how to launch rockets. I'm not sure if that's really good or not, but anyway.
It depends.
I'm not sure.
Depends
Time
on
will
which
tell.
rocket.
Time will tell. He's joined the band, and of course, the weekend he went to Gander and he flew in a glider, which, when for a 12-year-old kid, that's pretty good, right? And coming from a military background, where I spent a number of years in the military, 10 years in the military myself, It was the best decision I ever made. You probably say, I said it may be a person I am, I'm saying people around here, I'm opening myself up to a really good comeback lines.
We'll stop any comment on that.
So I will leave well enough alone. This past weekend, I attended Ardex. I have to thank the mayor and Councilor Coady Davis for that, for encouraging me to go.
Thank you.
All in all, they do a lot of great things for the community, some great artists in the community and in Newfoundland in general. But there's some great artists, so I commend the organizers, Joanne Mack, and Robert Lodge, and there's another lady, can't remember her name.
Is Nellie Wall? Nellie?
Could be Nellie, yeah.
was involved.
But they did a great job, okay, so they did a great job. I don't want to belabor Salmon Festival anymore than
No,
has
don't.
already been labored, but I just want to point out something that I was going to do here anyway, and I'm going to do it again. As I said, $14 million capital works budget. Some of the things that we did, paved roads, sidewalks, parks, the new dog park. We also finished the water treatment plant is now done, that myself and Councillor Finn went down and had a look at just last weekend. A lot of the work that was done there by the staff, to save money, they had to group themselves, figured it out and cut it down from 4 million down to 1.5. The town manager knows the exact numbers, but he did. And we did all of that, and now we're doing under the capital act, the lagoons and doing all that. So I just want to say to, the people that, tonight, I'm fearing tomorrow now to see the headlines and everything else, that they lost money at salmon festivals, those incompetent, this and that. Get back to the role what we really are. All these things, we hardly ever speak about them. The only thing I'll talk about Salmon Festival, but all the other minutes spoke of these things. So, to the residents and to people out there who love to knock us down, because I kind of felt that's what they tried to do this year, and they're sort of almost celebrating the fact that we went down. Put it in perspective, keep it in perspective. These are the things that are important to the community. I'm not diluting in any way the Salmon Festival being something of a tourism attraction for us, and I think we should be working more on a tourism attraction and strategies as we go through our development process. But these are the kinds of things too that we don't speak enough about. And these are the things that really, what this council and previous councils and senior staff really spend most of their time at. And so I'd like for people just to recognize that. Keeping with that, the senior trade show was held this past weekend. And was heavily attended.
Over 600.
Pardon me?
Over 600 people.
Over 600 people came to it. Was it a make money event? No, it wasn't a make money event. It wasn't the intent to be a make money event. It was to sort of help promote seniors and give the seniors something to do and make us more of an all-age community. So that's kind of things we don't say much about, and I'm afraid like tomorrow, all I'm going to hear about is they lost the Salmon Festival, and that's it. Now, with the technology being, we're going to be on, what you said,
Web.
Councilor Coady Davis said, we're going to be on the web, and I'm going to have the,
And one of these days, we're going to give you an iPad. Speaking of
not
Twitter,
going to happen.
you are on Twitter.
I am on Twitter.
Let's keep our discussion to where it should be.
Yes,
and,
yes,
let's
yes.
move along.
I will say, and a couple of the councillors, the deputy mayor mentioned about the presentations from the Baseball Association, Minor Soccer, Soccer Association. I have to say, commend as well, the leadership that's in those groups now is very, very impressive. And they came in that night, and I was totally impressed, and I think most councillors, all of us were impressed, and how dedicated they are to the community. And we can't sing their praises enough, and I have to thank them for that. Remind everybody, as we're going, I think I'm going to try to cut it short, because I could go on about that. The Cancer Society Gala that's coming up, I encourage the residents to support this great cause. We have a table that's going to be there, and hope to make it this year. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pinsent. Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just have a couple of items to update the community on, actually, Mr. Mayor. One is that this Monday coming is the Thanksgiving weekend, or this weekend is Thanksgiving weekend, Monday is the holiday. But that Monday is not a holiday for the town, so garbage collection is going ahead on Monday as normal, because that's not a holiday that our staff takes. We had recently in our regulations changed our regulation to note what statutory holidays the town took. versus what the province took. Because, we take, I think, 7 out of those 13 statutory holidays, but they're all listed in the new regulations, which are online. If anybody wanted to go online, look at our regulations, that points out the holidays that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor honors. And the ones and the holidays like Thanksgiving, everyone would think, Monday is a holiday, garbage must get collected on Tuesday. It's not the case. These are one of those holidays that our town employees are actually working. So I just wanted to put that, to inform the public of that, Mr. Mayor, and where they can read up on the regulations. And it was adopted in, the regulations were also adopted in the minutes of our July meeting, and so the information is also available in our July minutes. The other thing, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to inform the public on was that there is a multi-materials collection day planned for November 1st, put off by the Multi-Materials Stewardship Board. So that's November 1st in Grand Falls-Windsor, and they're going to be collecting electronics, paint, and tires. Now, there is other materials being worked on, and there will be a significant advertising campaign that will occur in the week or two leading up to November 1st. There may be hazardous waste added to that, but that decision is not made. So right now, it's all about electronics, paint, and tires, and that's November 1st, Mr. Mayor. That's all I had this evening for others. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Finn. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things there, a couple things that actually came to mind as we were going around listening to the other councillors' comments. One thing with reference to Councillor Mercer's comments about the events in CBS there a couple weeks ago on the soccer field. Just thinking about it out loud, I don't know if we, next spring maybe, it might be an appropriate time for us to stage some sort of emergency exercise that we may want to get some of the community groups involved in and the arts community and that to help us out with that, much the same as they do sometimes at the hospital, just to have groups and that prepared properly if in the event anything like that were ever to happen, I think is, and it's a good promotional exercise too for the town to be able to go through something. So just something I just thought about and I figured I'd throw out there. The Salmon Festival, the last word, I guess, unless you're going to speak of it
No,
again.
I'm not going to speak, bro. I'm finished.
The only thing I will say is, I think it's important for us as council to acknowledge that, yeah, maybe we did make some mistakes in this too, I don't want to give the perception that we're up here thinking we did everything perfectly and, things didn't work out well. That's
We're only perfectly centered.
That's right.
We're not perfect.
And that's not the case at all. I mean, we do recognize that we made some mistakes along the way, at least I feel that way. But of course, as they say, the trick is with mistakes is to learn from them and not repeat them. So I just thought it was important to point that out to the public there. The food bank. Had an opportunity to speak to Terry Brown today, who's, I think everybody knows, a long-time volunteer with the food bank, and just asking him about how things are going. And I told him that I would put out a plug there for the food bank. Of course, this time of year, you tend to hear more about the food bank with Thanksgiving around the corner now and Christmas very close. But he wanted me to remind residents in the Grand Falls-Windsor and Bishops Falls area particularly that this is a 12-month operation, and even though you hear more hype and there's more of a calling for food bank donations around this season, it's important to have those donations coming in 12 months of the year. He told me they would be getting ready to pass out some 300 hampers in come Christmas time, and they take, of course, all non-perishable items. They're open on Mondays and Fridays at from 2 p.m. till 3:30. And of course located there on Lincoln Road. So I'd encourage residents, to get out there. Not everybody has it in their mind to give to the food bank, but it's very important that we do that. And when you look at 300 hampers, obviously, it's much more of a significant issue in our area than maybe most people realize. And just before I move on from the food bank, the other thing that Terry pointed out was that longtime volunteer Bob Lewis retired from the food bank just a few months ago after being such a dedicated person in that role. So I thought it was important just to acknowledge Bob's service and, on behalf of the town, to thank him for what he's done over the years for the food bank, and I wish him all the best. Another gentleman that's familiar to people in Grand Falls-Windsor, anybody who frequents Brides or has over the last number of decades, is Cy Barrow. And Cy celebrated his 90th birthday just a little while ago. So I just wanted to say a belated happy birthday to Cy. And if anybody goes in there, Cy still goes in at 5:30 or so in the morning. He makes his own sandwiches to sell to a lot of the workers that go to work early. He's still heavily involved in the business, very sharp, and a pleasure to talk to, especially early in the morning when I'm going over to get a 2 liter of milk or a loaf of bread or something. So happy birthday.
You can afford to buy the milk now, eh?
Well, yes, it is a bit expensive, I'm hearing, but I've known that a long time.
What? That's true.
Just a couple other things. The residents, a number of residents have come to me about the Park Street area near Hollett's retirement home out there and the Queensway SO, and the fact that it is a well-utilized area for walking, and we've been discussing ourselves options. I know I've been talking to the Director of Engineering about options that we may have to make that a safer and a better spot for walking there in the future. And I just wanted to let the residents know that we are talking about different options that are available to us out there, and hopefully we'll see something done out there in the near, not so distant future, I should say, to accommodate the many walkers that use that area, and especially with the number of seniors and senior living quarters that are in that area. And talking about seniors, and this is something we've talked about an awful lot, and we continue to talk about it, the long-term care facilities and the need for more facilities in our community, the need for more beds in our hospital. And I know that we've been working with Central Health, and I know that our business development officer has been working with Central Health, and there have been some strides made, but I'd really like to see us continue to be aggressive when it comes to dealing with Central Health. And it's one thing to talk the talk, but it'll soon be time for us to walk the walk when it comes to these long-term care facilities, and this need is only getting greater with our aging population as years go on. So just want to make sure that we keep the pressure on and keep the communication lines open, because we do have a good relationship with Central Health, and I'm not trying to suggest that we don't, but I think it's important for us to try to find tangible solutions to how we can come up with more facilities, more beds, and so forth for our citizens. Let me see. The last thing, and this is what I'll finish on, is because, again, I'm not sure who mentioned, I guess we talked about waste management tonight. I think it was Councillor Mercer again talked about putting the pressure on the province. Maybe we need to go to the province now. Well, it put me in mind that, we've gone to the province for a lot lately. And there's some things we're just not getting much action on, and I'm frustrated. I know everybody is frustrated. There's a number of different issues there. We talked about the Excite building, and we continue to wait on an answer from the government regarding the Excite building. And we talk about a possible sale and everything, but we continue to wait on the government, and we've been told that we would have an answer close to the end of August, then the end of September. Now we're into October. We've got the Duggan Street access. There was a lot of talk about us getting a westbound access there. 10 years, I think, council had been fighting for this. We were ready to get in a vehicle there a couple of months ago and drive to St. John's to meet with the minister, and we got the word before we left that it's approved. But we have not been told when the work is going to be carried out, how the work is going to be carried out, how much it's going to cost,
And when.
what the plan are, and despite repeated inquiries, all we're getting back is it's being worked on. So, it's very frustrating at this point with those issues, and I'll touch on a couple of others too, because they're arguably as or more important. One is something I think I mentioned the last 2 council meetings, mill demolition. Yes, it's going to be torn down. Well, when? What's going on with that? Where are they to with that? It's very important to this community to get past that chapter. Let's get the mill down so that we can look at ways that we can improve that area over there, utilize the other side of the river to be able to benefit this community and put that chapter behind us. Almost 6 years since the mill's closed, and it's still sitting there like an eyesore and a safety
worse.
hazard. And despite the fact we've been told that this is gonna be torn down, after, only because of lobbying from our council, that I think that's even got to that point, we're not getting any information. We have no idea where this is to. And then, of course, the forest resource. And we're hearing about a pellet plant possibly going to Botwood. We want the forestry sector back. We want the spin-offs economically to be back here before more businesses keep leaving. And we're not getting any answers. I mean, we've got new ministers in a couple of these again, maybe the third new ministers. Let's keep the pressure on. I mean, but the general public may have a part to play in this as well. Don't be afraid to lobby your government officials to see if we can push these agendas along, because these are things, those four, you know, the Excite building, the Duggan access, the mill demolition, and the pellet plant, or the forest resource, that we're not seeing the action we need. And I'd encourage anybody to, you know, contact your member out there and ask questions and help us try to push this agenda along to the benefit of the community. That's it for me tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and
It might even make the news, Mr. Mayor.
I hope so. Just wanted to make a comment. The Deputy Mayor may mention, of course, that, you know, obviously the long-term care beds is certainly an issue, and I know that Minister Sullivan just probably about maybe a couple months ago, there was a significant investment in a study to look at the overall aging demographic and the long-term care, I guess, requirements and needs that will be in the central Newfoundland area. So I would suspect that that study is ongoing, and hopefully we'll be able to determine exactly what are the long-term needs. And of course, we all hear the horror stories, and we know there are people that have been in our hospital now for 5 months in a bed, right? Because there's no long-term care facility that's suited. So it is a growing concern. It is something that we need to certainly keep on the front burner, not the back burner. And also, of course, I guess, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the government, but I guess in all fairness, over the last 4 or 5 months, there's, you know, it's been challenging times for government in that trying to, you know, they've gone through a lot of changes within the government itself, and it seems like by the time we get one municipal affairs minister, by the next month that one is gone, and so there's been a total changeover, and I guess with change, trying to get up to speed, which I understand fully. It's not an excuse that is, you know, is acceptable. But I would suspect that if we were asking why, that would be the response. But I think that I know our Director of Engineering has been, over the last 3 or 4 days and weeks.
Years.
And, well, no, I'm talking about more specifically to the demolition of the mill, has been continually asking, you know, where's the update, when is it happening, you know, when can we expect it? And of course, council's been privy to all these responses, and all of his basic saying, well, it's coming, and, you know, but at what point in time is it coming? So I think we do have, these concerns. I think it's concerns that we have around the table. And I totally agree that, you know, you give a certain amount of time, and if we don't get the answers in those times, that we put the pressure on, and, you know, we need some answers to this, and I agree with you 100%, we need some direction in that, but hopefully, we will keep plugging, we'll be relentless in our continual lobbying to get these things done, and Councillor Coady Davis just flipped over a tweet that came out from our fire chief, that they've had over 900 people go through the fire station tonight, and that's phenomenal. So you talk about community support, certainly the community gets out and support, and it's a great event, and certainly hats off, no pun intended, to all of our fire department and all of our volunteers, and certainly 900 people that hopefully will have some education as they went through the fire station. So again, another very successful event. Having said that, I will not prolong the agony any longer. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, moved by Councillor Coady Davis and seconded by Councillor Mercer, and we will see you all in 3 weeks.